based on your income, not so much the size of your portfolio, but on your income, your Medicare premium could rise anywhere from $243 to as high as $643. That's a difference of up to $400 depending on how much income you have in retirement that's taxable. Hey folks, Colin Richards here. I'm president and founder of Lord and Richards, and I'm excited to be talking to you in this segment today about something really urgent. It's not often that I use that word urgent in these episodes, in these segments, because most of the steps that we're taking are steps that are consistently done and that yield measurable and predictable results down the future. But this is one area that I'm talking about today that is absolutely urgent. You need to make sure you address this right now. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the inevitability of rising taxes and why you must urgently plan for rising taxes. You say, well, why do you say inevitable, Colin? Well, if I can use my audiences as a guide when I go out and speak in the public arena, I will ask people all the time, what do you think about tax rates? What are we going to see happen in the future? Are we going to see those rise? Are we going to see those fall, stay about the same? And there is a constant theme in all of my events. Folks are saying, look, Colin, they're going to go up. We know we're living in historically low brackets right now. I tell the story about Ronald Reagan only making 2 movies a year in the post-World War II era. You say, well, why did he do that? Because if he made 3, he made enough to go into the 90% tax bracket at the time. You say, well, that'll never happen. Are you sure about that? And what if it does? Are you prepared in advance? You must urgently plan for the inevitability of rising taxes. There's a couple reasons why I say that they're inevitable, okay? I'm not talking here about deferring taxes. Deferring taxes means not paying them now and paying them later. Putting money in your IRA defers taxes in your 401k, your 457, your 403b. These are all tax-deferred plans. And the assumption when these types of plans were created and codified into law was that one day when you're retired, you would be in a lower bracket. You'll be living far below the standard of living that you enjoy today. And that's just not true. And I'm going to show you why. Additionally, we are living in an historically low tax bracket environment. If you don't believe me, look at the tax rates before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was passed. Starting in 2018, we've been enjoying now some of the lowest tax brackets in a generation. And we call it at Lord & Richards a window of opportunity, an opportunity to get ahead of the expiration of these tax cuts. For one, the government has been determined several times to increase taxes anyway, to just repeal that act. But even if they do nothing, absolutely nothing, we will revert back to our previous rates, which were much higher, much less generous, had much less deductions built into them. You say, well, won't Congress, in order to get a little boost in their voting, continue that act? Just continue those tax brackets? Well, history tells us that when Congress passes a law that really gets them some political capital, that capital is spent and gone for the generation that passed that law. And the next group is really not going to get the same benefit just by extending that. So the likelihood is that there will be a new set of tax brackets, and it depends on who's in power and how they vote. Consider this also. Deals have to be made in a divided government. Now, from a stock market standpoint, when the government is divided, maybe Republicans carry one chamber and the Democrats another, or vice versa, or one holds the presidency, the other holds the House, another holds the Senate. That's great for stock markets. They love that uncertainty because Congress rarely gets anything done of significance. But when it comes to taxes, as we have seen in our annual shootout over the debt ceiling, deals have to be made. Sometimes things have to be done. And the possibility of tax increases as part of one of those deals is always on the table. Now, one last reason why I really believe you are personally liable to pay higher taxes in retirement. In addition to the expiring tax brackets we're enjoying now, we are looking at a number of additional taxes that are not uncommon for retirees. It's just a reality of that phase of your life. Some of them we even call stealth taxes because they might not even be called taxes. For example, based on your income, and think of it this way, if you're drawing money out of an IRA, all that money is taxable because you've been kicking that can down the road. You've been deferring. So the more money you pull out of the IRA, the higher your Medicare premium increases. You might be wondering, hey, Colin, what are you talking about an increase to my Medicare premium? I thought that was for my health insurance during retirement. What does that have to do with my income? Well, even though you contributed to that program, this is a way of testing your means. And based on your income, not so much the size of your portfolio, but on your income, your Medicare premium could rise anywhere from $243 to as high as $643. That's a difference of up to $400, depending on how much income you have in retirement that's taxable. That's a $4,800 additional bill. We call it a stealth tax. You say, well, how do I plan for that? Well, we're going to talk about that in an upcoming segment on how to prepare in advance for zero taxes in retirement. You're going to want to catch that segment. But for right now, we just need to make ourselves aware of these stealth taxes and realize, wow, there are things I may not be thinking about when I'm investing in my IRA and just deferring taxes down the road. That money you pull out of your IRA could also have an impact on the taxation of your Social Security check. Whoa, Colin, I thought Social Security was itself a tax. Well, what it really was a contribution to a retirement program. And just like every other kind of income, the IRS wants to tax it once you start taking those checks. And depending on how much you make over and above your Social Security, called provisional income, you could find yourself being on tax for anywhere from 50 to 85% of that check. Wow, we need to get our income down in retirement, but maintain our cash flow. You see what I'm saying? Don't reduce your lifestyle, reduce your taxes. Then there's another one. We call it the widow penalty. You say, oh my goodness, I thought death itself was enough to deal with. Well, being widowed or becoming a widow or widower means that you now move into a new single bracket. That means you're going to go into a bracket that's less generous with your income and taxes you at a higher rate. It's just the penalty for now being single. Very rarely have I seen folks accounting for this in their financial planning. We always account for this in our financial independence review, which, by the way, is completely free to you. You'll also find yourself, when your loved one passes on, in a lower standard deduction environment. That means that more of your income becomes taxable, and it becomes taxable at a higher rate. Your Medicare surcharges also can go up, as well as now qualifying more easily for the net investment income tax of 3.8%. You say, what? I didn't even know about all this stuff. Well, we need to get educated. We need to get educated because these are the things that are going to be pulled out of your money by the government, whether they call it a tax, a penalty, an adjustment. They're all stealth taxes, we call them. And then finally, you're going to lose deductions, right? If you're still in a home with children, those children are going to move on and you're going to lose those deductions. And then eventually, when you get your home paid off, you're going to lose the mortgage interest deduction. So the question is, have you built a written plan to urgently plan in advance for the inevitability of rising taxes? That's all part of our financial independence review. And what we do at Lord & Richards is we build a plan, a written plan for every aspect of your retirement to make sure that you're prepared in advance, to make sure that you're planning to succeed, not planning to fail. And so this really begins with a process we call a financial independence review. It's completely free to you. It's wonderful in our beautiful offices. And we would love to take the time to help you prepare in advance for the rising taxes that are on the horizon. It just starts with a simple phone call.